ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापत्कमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सागण रघुनाथान्वितं सतं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सागणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्ता राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चना गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे हरे।
मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य ईश्वरं हरे कृष्ण. So Prabhuji, yes, thank you for wonderfully reciting. Are you familiar with the verse? We will just chat for a little bit since not many devotees are here. We can also take just question answers. And we can read one or two verses of Bhagavad Gita also, but whatever everybody prefers. So are you familiar with 18.66 Sarv Dharman Parityaja?
No, Mataji.
Okay. So Prabhuji, that's the most important verse of Bhagavad Gita. It's in last chapter, 18.66. Okay. This is basically, of course, I will not go into details, but this is the last instruction of Krishna, where he says, Sarva dharman parityaja, that give up all the dharmas. Dharma means all the made up uh, religions. Religion means whatever we think is the dharma. For example, I may think that I have some stri dharma, some patni dharma, some pati dharma, some karma dharma. We have made up as humans
Yes.
a lot of various given assigned various purposes to our life, right? He says sarv dharman parityaja, forget about all that for a minute. Okay, sarv dharman parityaja, mam ekam sharanam raja, come to my shelter only. Okay, so think of the eternal dharma, think of the sanatan dharma, the eternal purpose, right? Sarv dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam raja, aham tvam sarva papebhyo, I will deliver you from all the sins, okay, or sinful reactions. Moksha shami ma shucha. Moksha shami means I shall deliver you. Aham means I. Moksha shami means shall deliver you from all the sins, okay. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha shami ma shucha means do not fear. So do not fear that you have to do all these things that the world tells you to do. You don't need to do all those things. Just come to my shelter only. Just keep me as the center of your life. Become a soul surrendered to me. Okay. The reason, so this is the ultimate verse of Bhagavad Gita because this is the ultimate instruction. Krishna has summarized the whole Bhagavad Gita in this one verse. Okay. That the goal of the entire Bhagavad Gita is to get to this idea in our head, fix this mindset, develop this mindset that I am a soul surrendered unto Krishna. I do not need to worry about various things in this world, various things told to me in this world. Of course, we carry out our due diligence, our responsibility in this world, but still we do that in relationship with Krishna ultimately. Ultimate surrender is Him, like that. The reason I'm telling you is about this verse is because the Bhagavad Gita is a journey between 2.7 to 18.66. Okay. 2.7 is where Arjun, it seems like he's surrendering to Krishna, but he does not have any philosophical basis yet. He does not have any knowledge yet. So he does not even understand that Krishna is the supreme God, right? He will understand that later on about 11th chapter. He does not understand the Krishna has not started the knowledge of Sankhya Yoga even, right? That you are the soul, you are not this body. So Arjun is just in 2.7 is a very initial seeker, just a seeker, without any faith, without any knowledge, without any understanding, right? So his surrender is very half-hearted. So this is how we are. Okay, right now we are just starting our journey into Bhagavad Gita. We also take shelter of Guru, or we also approach some Vaishnavas, but we do take everything with a pinch of salt. We do not believe everything they say. We do not have full faith in them or their Vani, right? Their instructions, their teachings. So it takes the full journey of Bhagavad Gita to get to a point of 18.66 where you realize, oh, Krishna is my absolute surrender. That's where I need to take shelter and just give up everything else. So I was just telling you that 2.7 is where the journey starts. So you are perfect. You're at the perfect place. But 18.66 is our highest goal where we have to reach, wherein everything we surrender to Krishna, through our actions, through our body, through our mind, words, in through our heart.
Yes, ma'am.
That's why
Very
I
nice.
was bringing that.
I will by head that. I will memorize that
Oh, very good.
verse.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah.
And whenever you go in front of deities, you can offer this verse and these two verses to Krishna.
Correct.
Anybody else wants to recite any, or should we do a couple of Bhagavad Gita verses from our chapter? Okay, let's think about it if you feel inspired to recite some verses. Otherwise, let's read at least a couple of chapter 5 verses. So, chapter 5, we are reading, it's called Karma Yoga, or Action in Krishna Consciousness. It opens with Arjun asking, what is better for me? Should I renounce work, or should I work with the spirit of renunciation? Which one is better? So, Krishna gives a very unequivocal, very clear answer. There is no confusion. He says that um, working with the spirit of renunciation is better than renouncing the work. Both are acceptable, both will take you to the platform of liberation, but working with the spirit of service or with spirit of renunciation is better than just renouncing all the work. And uh, over the last few classes, we have discussed the importance of work, okay, and also the importance of giving up work at certain times in certain phases of our life, and surrendering more and more to Krishna also. Both things are equally important given where we are in our age, where we are in our ashram. So we have talked about brahmacharya ashram in great detail. I think Ramchandra Prabhu asked about why some people take brahmacharya or sannyas ashram and do not engage in work when clearly Krishna is saying to engage in work. So that was a very valid question. So, of course, we understood that that platform is reserved for very advanced souls, very pure souls who have been vetted out by their seniors, their superiors, and have tried this path of renunciation. And they take to this path very naturally. They're able to preach this science of self realization very easily. And so they take to this path of preaching or renouncing. Otherwise, for most people, it's not easy to give up things, so they have to gradually purify. That is why we follow the Varnashram system, in which we are in a particular ashram. Let's say all of us are here in Grahastha ashram. And in that ashram, we gradually perform the responsibilities of our family, of our work, and purify ourselves. Slowly develop knowledge and detachment both. And then according as our ashram develops, we may reach the above the stage of 50 years, let's say, when we maximize our spiritual activities and minimize our social and community and other engagement, professional engagements and all. So according to Varnashram, of course, this instruction will change, but most people will need to engage in some kind of prescribed duty to gradually purify themselves for most part of their life. Then Krishna was talking about the path of Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga, and how both are actually not very different. If somebody is a learned person, an intelligent person, he will understand that Sankhya Yoga means analytical knowledge of spirit versus matter. Analytical knowledge means to understand that we are not made of matter, we are made of spirit. So we do not belong to this world. The world is also made of matter. Okay, this energy, Prakriti, this is all made of matter. And we belong to the super soul, supreme person, Krishna. Okay, so we are spiritual just like Krishna is. He is also Satchidanand Swarup. We are also Satchidanand Swarup. Like that, we understand our true nature, our true position, in relation to Krishna as well as in relation to this world. So when you understand that position, then you engage in karma yoga, meaning you connect with Krishna through your actions. So yoga means to connect with divine, and karma means through your actions. So to connect with divine through your actions is called karma yoga. So which means when you work, when you do some actions in this world, not necessarily only working, not just profession, but whatever work you do, you work with a service mentality, with a spirit of sacrifice, with a spirit of gratitude, with a spirit of satisfying Krishna. And that makes it karma yoga or nishkam karma. And so Krishna said that both will ultimately lead to one goal only. They both have one goal, because Sankhya should ultimately lead to karma yoga. One analogy comes for Sankhya Yoga, okay? Because remember, so what is Sankhya? Who can tell me? What is Sankhya Yoga? Let's see. Devansh Prabhu, are you available to engage? Or Suhas Mataji? If somebody asks you the definition of Sankhya Yoga, what would you say?
It's the study of your soul.
Okay, yes.
Should I tell?
Yes, sure.
This is the understanding of distinction between the spiritual and body platform.
Yes.
We can make out the difference between this.
Yes, very wonderful. Yes. It is an understand distinction between spirit versus matter, or spiritual versus material, spiritual versus bodily platform, or spirit versus matter. So analytical study means people go into very analytical. The reason the word analytical is used, because they analyze it a lot. So I'll give you an example. Somebody makes a cake, okay? So analytical study of cake will be to dissect each and every ingredient of the cake. Okay, what there is butter in it, there is sugar in it, there is milk in it, or there is maybe some people will use yogurt in it. Some non-devotees will use eggs in it, right, or flour in it. So what is each component doing? How much of each component is being put in? So which element is interacting with what element? So that is an analytical study. So if you go into books of Sankhya Yoga, little bit of which is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, not too much, but Srimad Bhagavatam on and off keeps talking about Sankhya Yoga also. You will see that all the material elements are mentioned, which element comes first, then which element comes, interaction of which elements leads to, let's say, formation of ahankar or false ego, which elements form to make intelligence, which elements form to combine to make mind, like that various combinations, interactions is given, okay, like a chemical reaction sort of is given. That's why sometimes baking is considered like chemistry, because there are so many ingredients coming together and there is a chemical reaction going on to create this beautiful cake. So when you go too deep into this analysis of which elements combine together to make up this body, and how is soul getting entangled up in this matter, and all this is analytical study of Sankhya Yoga. So Sankhya Yoga by itself is not enough to engage with divine, okay? But it just tells the person that I am spirit, I am not this matter. These material elements is where I am stuck, where I am entangled, where I have been. This is my cage, okay? Like a bird has a cage. I am the bird, this is the cage. So it gives you the understanding of the cage, okay? The cage is made of metal, and which metal, and how many bars are there, and what is the space between the bars, and whatnot. But it does not help you to get it. It may help you to develop understanding that I am not this cage, I am the bird, but you may not be able to get out of it. So in and of by itself, Sankhya Yoga is not enough to get out of this material world or to connect with the Supreme. That's why we were talking about this concept last time, that detachment is not enough. You understand that I'm not of this world and I'm just stuck in this world, and that's why I'm suffering all this miseries and anxieties and fears, and problems are coming up, diseases are coming up, right? Degradation of body is going on, old age is happening, people are causing problems, politics are causing problem, terrorists are a problem, or weather related problems, hurricanes and tornadoes and wildfires and volcanoes are erupting. All this is happening around me, not to me. I understand that, but I still don't know how to get to the other side of this. So for that, you have to attach very deliberately to Krishna. Okay. So you have to make, it's like you are a prisoner is stuck in a prison. Okay. Now but in order to get out of the prison, a group of people are trying to break out of that prison. They are trying to make a break out of the prison. So a very deliberate effort is needed. And if you go and join that group of people that are trying to break out of the prison, then you can get out. But otherwise, by itself, you are just stuck here over and over again. So that group of people that are trying to break out of the prison is a group of devotees, right? Vaishnavas are trying to break out of this prison. So so that's why Sankhya Yoga can lead to Karma Yoga. The detachment can lead to attachment, but by itself, detachment is not enough. So that's where we stopped last time. This is the last verse we did. In verse 6, Krishna says, merely renouncing all activities, yet not engaging in the devotional service of the Lord, cannot make one happy. But a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the supreme without delay. So this is coming directly from Krishna. Dukkham aptum ayogata. Without yoga. Ayoga means without yoga. Ayoga. So for ayogata people, dukkham aptum. They will get misery. It's difficult. So just detachment is not enough. What do you have to become? Yog yukto. So from ayoga, from just not connecting with Krishna, you have to connect with Krishna. You have to become Yog Yukto. Yog Yukto Munir Brahma. So you have to become that Muni, that learned person, intelligent person who's absorbed in Krishna, who's absorbed in Brahma Gyan. Na Chirena. Chirena means very, so chir means long time. Na Chirena means very quickly. Okay, without delay. Na chirena means basically without delay. Chir means delay. Na chirena means without delay. Adi gachati, he will get me. So now we have to do verse 7, which is also a very important verse. Let's recite this. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma. Yoga yukto vijitatma jitendriya. Vijitatma jitendriya. Sarvabhutatma bhutatma.
Sarvabhutatma bhutatma
Kurvan api na lipyate.
kurvanaphi na lipyate.
Okay, can somebody read this?
Should I read?
Yes, please.
One who works in devotion, who is a pure soul, and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Thou always working, such a man is never entangled.
Let me just show the Sanskrit very quick. So, Yog Yukt, we just understood. He's absorbed in Yog. Yog means connection with Krishna. So, the reason now somebody might say, why does Prabhupada brings the word devotion? Because it is not saying Bhakti Yog Yukto, Bhakti Yoga Yukto. It's just saying Yog Yukto. So, the reason is Bhakti Yoga, as we have understood from not only Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, but many other Vedic scriptures also, Bhakti Yoga or connecting with Krishna in devotion is the highest yoga. So instead of keeping it impersonal, that whatever yoga, Prabhupada gives us already that you connect with Krishna in devotion. So you are connecting with Krishna, but which yoga are you connecting with? Through actions, through Karma Yoga, through Gyan Yoga, through Ashtanga Yoga. Different people may be absorbed in different ways, but the best way to absorb in Krishna is through devotion. That's why Prabhupada says engaged in devotional service, because he understands the heart of Krishna. Okay, Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam. We have understood the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam. So we understand that Krishna wants us to connect through Bhakti Yoga. That's why Prabhupada, without any delay, na chirena, Prabhupada quickly in the Bhagavad Gita gives us Bhakti Yoga everywhere. So he does not play around with Sankhya Yoga or Karma Yoga or Gyan Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga or Dhyan Yoga. Prabhupada starts giving us Bhakti Yoga, especially when the word yoga is used by itself. Where Krishna has not mentioned a specific yoga, Prabhupada will especially translate that to mean Bhakti Yoga. So please understand that is the mercy, the compassion of a great Vaishnava like Prabhupada to already give us Bhakti Yoga at such an early stage in Bhagavad Gita. Even though the Bhakti Yoga chapters start from 7th chapter, please remember, 7 to 12 chapters are the Bhakti Yoga chapters. But even in the initial chapters, when we are still developing understanding of Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, Prabhupada starts giving us Bhakti Yoga. So he says, Yog Yukto, a person that's absorbed in yoga. Which yoga? Bhakti Yoga. Vishuddhatma, he is purified soul, Vishuddh. Okay, such a person will be a purified soul, right? Because he's absorbed in Krishna, constantly connecting to Krishna. Vijitatma. Vijitatma means he's self-controlled. Okay, Vijay Pali hai jisne on his Atma means self-controlled. So when we say self-control means basically control of mind, intelligence, and ego. Especially mind and intelligence needs to be controlled a lot. Please observe in your daily life, you will have to control your mind and intelligence a lot. If you pay attention, you will see how uncontrolled your mind and intelligence are. Of course, ego also, and that's very hard to control, but mind and intelligence, mind, if you can control, you're a very self-regulated, self-controlled person. So Vijitatma. And then other thing that needs to be controlled is senses, Jitendriya. These are slightly easier than mind, but mind and intelligence, wow, very difficult. And then Jitendriya is controlling the senses. So such a person is very purified. He has control, self-regulated, control of his mind, intelligence and ego, and control of his senses. Such a person will be Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. Such a person will be very dear to all living entities, and all living entities will be very dear to him. So he will not like discriminate, distinguish, or separate people on bodily platform. And people, he will also be very dear to people. People will be able to see that he's a well-wisher of all. Maybe he speaks harshly sometimes, like Prabhupada will also speak harshly, but still people could make out that this person is a pure soul, self-regulated with perfect control of his senses, who is speaking harshly, even if he does for our benefit. It's like a parent calling, slapping a child or waking up a child from the sleep. Kurvan apina lipyate. Such a person, even though he may be engaged in many activities, he will not be entangled at all. Na lipyate. He will not be tied up or bound up by any of the activities of this world. So he's on a different platform altogether. He's a yog yukta person. Vishuddhatma, being purified, is very important. Please remember that. The example that comes for this is the reason we have to connect with Krishna, Krishna's devotees, Krishna's books, Krishna's verses, Krishna's songs, Krishna's prasadam on a daily basis is they purify us. How? The example comes in Bhagavatam especially, that when you keep, let me ask devotees here. When you keep an iron rod in fire, okay, will the iron rod stay cool?
It will become hot and it will turn red.
It will turn red like fire. It will burn almost as bad as fire will burn, right? So this example comes many, many times in Srimad Bhagavatam, that when iron rod is kept in contact with fire, it will burn hot like fire. It will have the same properties as fire. So if we want to realize our spiritual identity as the spirit soul, as servant of Krishna, as part and parcel of Krishna, if we want to become purified from material entanglements, all these things, we want to become Jitendriya, we want to become, Vijitatma, we want to become Sarva Bhuta Bhutatma, then we have to stay as much in contact with the fire, which means Krishna, as much as possible. Because Krishna's names are non-different from Krishna, Krishna's books, his verses, his songs, his teachings, his devotees, his prasadam, they're all, his dham, his temple, his deity, they're all non-different from Krishna. So the more and more the iron rod, meaning us, which is otherwise just iron rod, comes in contact with this fire of Krishna and Krishna's activities and paraphernalia, we become hot like fire itself. So we realize our true identity, Satchidanand Swarup like Krishna, if we put ourselves as much in contact with Krishna as possible. Again comes that. So that's why Yog Yukta is important. To be attached to Krishna is important, not just detachment. You have to burn like fire by burning yourself as iron rod in the fire. Okay, so such a person will never be entangled. Can you read the purport?
Yes, purport. One who is on the path of liberation by Krishna consciousness is very dear to every living being, and every living being is dear to him. This is due to his Krishna consciousness. Such a person cannot think of anything being as separate from Krishna, just as the leaves and branches of a tree are not separate from the tree. He knows very well that by pouring water on the root of the tree, the water will be distributed to all the leaves and branches. And by supplying food to the stomach, the energy is automatically distributed throughout the body. Because one who works in Krishna consciousness is servant to all. He is very dear to everyone. And because everyone is satisfied by his work, he is pure in consciousness. Because he is pure in consciousness, his mind is completely controlled. And because his mind is controlled, his senses are also controlled. Because his mind is always fixed in Krishna. There is no chance of being deviated from Krishna, nor is there a chance that he will engage his senses in matters other than the service of the Lord. He doesn't like to hear anything except topics relating to Krishna. He doesn't like to eat anything that is not offered to Krishna. And he does not wish to go anywhere if Krishna is not involved. Therefore, his senses are controlled. A man of controlled senses cannot be offensive to anyone. One who may ask, why then was Krishna offensive? In battle to others. Wasn't he in Krishna consciousness? Arjuna was only superficially offensive because, as has already been explained in second chapter, all the assembled persons on the battlefield would continue to live individually, as the soul cannot be slain. So spiritually, no one was killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Only their dresses were changed by the order of Krishna, who was personally present. Therefore, Arjuna, while fighting on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, was not really fighting at all. He was simply carrying out the orders of Krishna in full Krishna consciousness. Such a person is never entangled in the reactions of birth. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. So I think this is pretty clear. Prabhupada is expanding this point that such a person is always engaged in different activities of Krishna consciousness. So he's always yog yukto. Prabhupada has given 2 examples, and these come, actually, this is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, watering the roots. So please remember this concept that Krishna is the cause of all causes. He's the source of everything. He's the Adi Purusha. He's the origin of everything. So from him, everything comes, right? Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. Or Krishna says, matta partaram nanyat kinchid asti dhananjaya mai sarvam idam protam sutre mani ganaiva. Everything is resting on me, as if pearls resting on a thread. So since everything is resting on Krishna, he's the cause of all causes, he's the source, he's the root, okay? So just like a tree or a plant, when you need to water them, you water the roots. And then automatically the stem, the trunk of the tree, the leaves, the twigs, the flowers, everything gets watered. Everything gets satisfied, gets satiated because you have watered the roots. So similarly, if we satisfy the senses of Krishna, okay, then automatically all the other things of our life will also happen spontaneously, will also materialize spontaneously. So we should focus on the main thing. Remember, keep the main thing the main thing. Similarly, Prabhupada gives the example of supplying food to the stomach. Like you want to give nourishment to everything, to your liver and kidneys and lungs and heart and brain and to your eyes, to your ears. But you're not giving food to every single thing. Like I'm not putting dal in my eye to feed it, right? I'm putting dal in the stomach. Why? Because stomach is the source from which the food will go everywhere. It will supply it to everything else. So energy will automatically be distributed throughout the body. Like that. So such a person through all their activities, whatever they do, okay, which, for example, you all are engaged in many different activities. So somehow try to do those things in relation with Krishna. See how I may be able to serve Krishna the best through various things, whether it's work, whether it's through your family, whether it's through your community endeavors, whether through some social engagements, in your private time. What are the various things I can do by which Krishna can be satisfied? And if he's satisfied, then all else will spontaneously happen. Let's keep reading and then we'll see what questions come up. Next are two together. Naiva kinchit karomiti. Naiva
Neva
kinchit
karomiti
yukto manne tatattvavit.
Yukto
yukto
manne
manne tatattvayet
Pashyan shrinvan sprishan jigran. Pashyan
shravanam harshan jigran
ashnan gachan swapan shwasan.
asan gachan swapan swasan
I'll show the Devanagari also. Pralapan visrijan grihanan. Pralapan visrijan grihanan. Unmishan nimishan api. Unmishan nimisham api. Indriyani indriyartheshu.
indriyani indriyartheshu
Vartanta iti dharayan.
vartanta iti dharayan.
Who wants to read next one?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Translation: a person in the divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof from them.
Let's look at the Sanskrit. Naiva kinchit karomiti. So this person, okay, so Krishna is further describing the symptoms of such a pure soul who's yog yukto. Naiva kinchit karomiti. So he actually does not do anything. I'm sorry, this is not just the pure soul. Just this is everybody. This is all of us. Naiva kinchit karomiti. So a soul does not do anything. Yukto manneta, he's engaged in divine consciousness. So he thinks, he sees, he hears, he touches, he smells, he eats, various activities I mentioned, eating, ashnan, gachan, he goes, he sleeps, and he breathes, shwasan, okay? Pralapan, he talks, he visrijan, he gives up, grihan, he accepts, okay? He gives up or he accepts. He opens, he closes, like various senses are working, right? Opening and closing refers to that. Indriyartheshu. So he knows that various senses are engaged in various activities, okay? A learned person in divine consciousness knows that his senses are doing all these things. They are seeing, smelling, touching, walking, sleeping, giving up, accepting. They're doing so many things. But he is aloof from them, okay? He's engaged with these objects, the senses are engaged with these objects, but he is aloof from them. So if you remember, in the initial days of our Bhagavad Gita, we talked about the word Vishaya. Okay? Vishaya means, who can tell me? Vishaya means what?
Sense objects.
Sense objects. So Indriyas will come in contact with a sense object. For example, Puja Mataji, what will be the sense object for my tongue? Can you give me some?
Ras, swad.
Yeah, like can you give me an example of some sense object?
Yeah, like for sight is for the eyes. Like
Mataji,
what you
just
see.
example, like for tongue, gulab jamun.
Gulab. Okay.
So,
Ji Mataji, gulab jamun. Like anything you like to eat, like rasgulla, gulab jamun,
yeah.
mithai, any barfi, that gives you swad or taste.
Mm.
As like shravan for hearing. So
Music,
like
I'm hearing rock music, right? So so for
yes.
my ears, ear is the sense organ. For my sense organ, what is the Vishaya or sense object that it is coming in contact with? So the senses are coming in contact with the sense object. Sense organ is coming in contact with the sense object. So tongue is coming in contact with sense object called gulab jamun, right? Or ears
Yeah.
are coming in contact with the sense object called music.
Rock
It could be
music.
kirtan,
Yeah.
it could be verses, it could be harinam, it could be rock music, it could be Bollywood music, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Eyes, sense object or Vishaya would be some whatever I'm seeing, right? I'm standing
Yeah.
outside McDonald's right now to do this class. So I'm looking at McDonald's, whatever I'm seeing.
Yeah.
So like that. So sense object
Beauty.
is whatever object the sense organ comes in contact with. So this verse is saying a learned person knows that the sense organs are coming in contact with sense objects, but he is not doing anything. So my question to all of you is, who is he here? I gave away the answer. I wanted to ask that. Who is
Sense
Krishna representing?
object.
He person, a devotee, maybe a devotee, a
Okay.
soul,
Soul. Not just devotee, any soul, any
a soul.
jiva, anybody. All of us, so learned person understands the situation that the soul is just stuck in the body. The body made of this senses or sense organs is coming in contact with sense objects, and the jiva or the soul is just sitting in the body, not doing anything. The actual soul is aloof from this. Okay. So the soul is not enjoying really, it's the body that enjoys. So when I eat a rasgulla, when I eat a some whatever, watch something, see something, touch something, that's why these are called bodily pleasures. These are bodily enjoyments, right? So unless we engage with the spiritual sense object, with the paraphernalia which is spiritual, the soul is typically aloof from all these bodily pleasures. It's only our mind, intelligence, all the bodily elements that are enjoying. Okay. So person, yog yukt person, a person who is learned, who knows his true position in divine consciousness, knows that it's the material senses that are engaged with the objects and he's aloof from them. Now, yes, you can also say this about a devotee or like an advanced soul, because an advanced soul is also engaged in a lot of things in this world. Okay. But throughout, unlike us, we think I'm doing it. Like when I go to work, I think I am doing that work. But the advanced soul, even though he's doing so many things in this world, he is always doing those for Krishna. So he's always on a liberated or spiritual platform. He's always on a divine consciousness. He's not enjoying with his senses really. All his he's always at the spiritual platform. Okay. Let's read the purport and things will become more clear. Mataji, you want to continue?
Ji Mataji. Purport. A person in Krishna consciousness is pure in his existence, and consequently he has nothing to do with any work which depends upon five immediate and remote causes: the doer, the work, the situation, the endeavor, and fortune. This is because he is engaged in the loving transcendental service of Krishna. Although he appears to be acting with his body and senses, he is always conscious of his actual position, which is spiritual engagement. In material consciousness, the senses are engaged in sense gratification, but in Krishna consciousness, the senses are engaged in the satisfaction of Krishna senses. Therefore, the Krishna conscious person is always free, even though he appears to be engaged in affairs of the senses. Activities such as seeing and hearing are actions of the senses meant for receiving knowledge, whereas moving, speaking, evacuating, etc. are actions of the senses meant for work. A Krishna conscious person is never affected by the action of the senses. He cannot perform any act except in the service of the Lord because he knows that he is the eternal servitor of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
So this is, I hope this is clear, right? Krishna is describing the position of a normal soul, that they are doing all these things, but what is happening is senses are engaged with the sense objects, and a learned person, a divine person, knows that actually the jiva is not doing anything. It's the senses that are engaging with the sense objects. So a learned person will always be on that platform where it looks like, to us, to ordinary people, it looks like he's doing all the things that we do. But his mindset is different. His intention is to please Krishna. He's not doing it for his senses. He's doing it for Krishna's senses, his satisfaction. So there is a very beautiful verse in this regard. Please make note of that verse. Let me see if anybody knows it. So here Prabhupada has a little bit alluded to it. So there is a word called lust and there is a word called love. Okay. Can somebody tell me, maybe Nagarjun Prabhu or Ramesh Prabhu, someone might know, Sheetal Mataji. There is a verse which tells you what is the difference between lust and love. What is that verse? And that will clarify this verse for you very nicely. I thought Nagarjun Prabhu had raised his hand. Were you sharing? Or whoever knows. If not, you can memorize this
Hare
verse.
Krishna.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Yes, sorry, I'd raised my hand for something else earlier, but for this one, I'm not sure if it is, but the verse I was thinking of, with this couple of verses come to my mind. One is Rishikesha.
Okay. Sure, we can use that. Yes. Okay, so I'll quote both verses. Very nice. So, okay, do you know that one? Do you want to recite? I was thinking of something else.
I don't remember it offhand.
Okay, let me tell you both. So the one that I was in.
Rishikesha Bhaktir
Sure.
Uchyate.
Yes. Let me tell you the one that I was talking about.
Was it Kamesha, Krodesha, Mataji?
Yeah, so this is from Chaitanya Charitamrit, Mataji. So that goes like this. Atmendriya priti vancha tare balikama Krishnendriya priti ichha dhare premanama. Atmendriya priti vancha. If you are working for your senses, okay, Atmendriya, for your senses, priti vancha, you desire to satisfy your senses, Atmendriya priti vancha. Tare bali काम, that is called काम or lust. Okay. Krishnendriya priti ichha. Krishnendriya priti ichha dhare prem nama. So dhare prem nam, that is called prem. So when you're trying with all your activities, with all your engagements, so-called sense engagements also, when you're trying to satisfy Krishna, when you are engaged in service, your life has become, your life should become a testimony of service. Your life should become a legacy of service. When that is what your life becomes, your sense organs, all karmendriya and jnanendriya, working senses and knowledge acquiring senses, they should all be engaged in the satisfaction of Krishna's senses. That is prem. So anytime now, so prem, sometimes we think of prem being a very Krishna prem. Of course, it's a very high goal for us. It's a very lofty, advanced platform for us. But as soon as you engage with spiritual activities, as soon as your intention is to serve Krishna through any activity, through any service, that quickly that is Krishna prem. That quickly you are in touch with Krishna prem. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, this is declared that Krishnendriya priti ichha dhare prem nam. Now, and this will purify you. That's why we should engage in services, because services purify us. Okay, they give the feeling that few minutes or that few seconds bliss of Krishna prem will come. Okay, and that will become everlasting, very profound, long-lasting Krishna prem platform for us. But we have to get these small realizations through our services on a daily basis. So what Nagarjun Prabhu was saying is, so please remember this verse, Atmendriya priti vancha Tare bali kam, Krishnendriya priti ichha, dhare prem naam. Now, the one Nagarjuna Prabhu saying, very important verse also, that is spoken by Narad Muni, and it says, Sarvopadi vinirmukta tatparatmena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha shila sevanam bhaktiruttamam. Okay. So, Sarvopadi Vinirmukta. Give up all your bodily designations. Whatever you have been told. You are a man, you are a woman, you are an Indian, you are an American, you are a black, you are a white, you are a Hindu, you are a Muslim. Sarvopadi. You are a doctor, you are a teacher, a lawyer. Sarvopadi. Give up all these bodily designations. Just like Krishna says, Sarv Dharman Parityaja. Forget all these bodily religions, made up religions. Sarvopadi Vinirmukta. Give up all these upadhis or designations. Sarvopadi Vinirmuktam. Tat paratvena nirmalam. You will become nirmal. Okay, meaning Vishuddhatma. You will become purified. Why? Because Rishikena Rishikesha. When you engage your senses, okay? Rishikena means your senses in the service of Rishikesh, who is the master of senses. Rishikesh is name of Krishna. Krishna is the master or controller of all senses. So when a servant is engaged in the service of the master, then he becomes pure, then he becomes nirmal. So Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uttama. That is called the topmost love, topmost devotion. When you serve like that, when you engage your senses in the service of the controller of the senses, Sevanam Bhaktir Uttama. That is the topmost service, and that will make you nirmal, that will make you give up all your designations. So give up all these designations, become purified, engage your senses in the service of Krishna. So when we do these services, okay, like let's say I am taking this class, okay, or you are attending this class, do this with a very intentional mindset of serving devotees and serving Krishna. Then this is my service to Krishna. Do this as a service to the devotees, as a service to the Vaishnavas, as a service to your guru, and all that basically translates as service to Krishna. Okay, so if immediately Krishna Prem will come, immediately you will get a taste of becoming purified, that profound bliss will come, and Krishna's presence will expand in life. So this is what a pure person is doing throughout their life. Their life is a testimony of service. So they, whatever they're doing, engaged in seeing all these things that other people are also doing, but they are doing it for service, for satisfaction of Supreme. And he knows that other people, they are, the soul is basically just sitting very inert inside the body, and the body is engaging with various sense objects. But there is no spiritual enjoyment for these people. There is only bodily enjoyment. There is no spiritual pleasure. So we should put ourselves in situations where there is spiritual pleasure more and more. That's that verse. Shall we do one more at least?
Krishna, I was thinking maybe we can discuss a little more, and maybe start off, and then I can like the other thing I was thinking about was I was discussing this in the kids class also, the last class, and I got a little confused actually. But the verse I was thinking about, that's the patang patang, the five things that also comes in relation to the senses and sense objects, that how the senses can lure us in the wrong direction. And these five examples are given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. These examples by different senses, and that leads to their downfall.
Your voice is not very smooth, Nagarjuna Prabhu, but so what he's saying is that even one's sense organ, if it becomes distracted, is enough to cause fall down of a learned person. So as much as possible, we should and the best purification of senses is not really to detach them. So that's why we don't focus too much on don'ts. We focus more on do's. We focus more on attaching to Krishna. When we attach to Krishna, then automatically Nirmalam or Vishuddhatma happens. Purification happens, because then Krishna is actively participating in your life to remove all the contamination. Removing contamination without adding Krishna is very hard. You should make an effort, of course. You should make an effort on your end also. But the more important effort is to add Krishna in your life. When you do that, then automatically other things happen. Let's just do one more because it's very short. It's not It won't take that long. It's the same concept going on actually. Because Krishna is giving this analogy and that will round it up nicely for you. So beautiful analogy, very commonly used by all the preachers, and you will see where it's coming from. It's coming straight from the mouth of Krishna. Brahmane adhaya karmani. Brahmane
ब्रह्मणे आदाय कर्माणि
sangam tyaktva karoti yaha. Sangam
सङ्गं
tyaktva
त्यक्त्वा करोति यः
lipyate na sapapena.
लिप्यतेन स न पापेन
Padmapatram ivambhasa.
पत्रमिवाम्भसा.
Can somebody read this?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes.
One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water.
So this is straightforward. Padma patram. Padma is lotus. Patram means leaf. So just like a lotus leaf, we often give this analogy that a lotus lives in the muddy water, but it is never contaminated by the muddy water. Even if a drop of water falls on it, it's a very beautiful very beautiful characteristic of a lotus flower, that each leaf has this waxy coating on it. So when a water drop or dirty water or anything falls on it, the water just rolls off it. It does not stick on it. So similarly, Krishna is saying that one who performs his duty without attachment. So he does his work for Brahmani, for Brahma, for Supreme Lord. Adhaya karmani. Okay, he resigns or he surrenders his karma, his actions, his results to Brahma. Sangam tyaktva, he's not attached to the actions, to the results, to the material world. Lipyate na sapapena, he will not become entangled in any kind of sins or sinful reactions. Padma patrena ivambasa. Iva means like, just like a lotus leaf in the water. Okay, just like lotus leaf is untouched by the water. So we will not be, or the devotee will be untouched by the entanglements, the sins, the reactions, the problems of this world. Brahm, of course, again, Prabhupada, gives the highest understanding. So whenever the word yoga comes, which is a very impersonal word, Prabhupada typically says bhakti yoga, because that's the highest way to connect with Krishna. That's the easiest, the topmost way to connect with Krishna. It's the prescribed method that Krishna really likes. It's very dear to Krishna. That's why yoga is typically translated as bhakti yoga. And whenever the word Brahma comes, typically Prabhupada will translate that to Supreme Personality of Godhead. So nothing to be confused here, because Brahma, we understand, absolute truth has many understandings, the impersonal understanding, and then next level is Paramatma, and then the next level is the personal or the person form, the personality, a form of Krishna. And since the form is highest, where loving exchanges are possible, Prabhupada always gives the understanding of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So just so that you understand why this is done here. Yes, Mataji, please continue.
Here, Brahmani means in Krishna consciousness. The material world is a sum total manifestation of the three modes of material nature, technically called the Pradhana. The Vedic hymns Sarvam he etad Brahma, Manduka Upanishad 2, Tasmat etad Brahma Namarupam Annam cha Jayate, Mundaka Upanishad 1.1.9, and in the Bhagavad Gita 14.3, Mama Yonir Mahad Brahma, indicate that everything in the material world is manifestation of Brahman. And although the effects are differently manifested, they are non-different from the cause. In the Ishopanishad, it is said that everything is related to the Supreme Brahman or Krishna, and thus everything belongs to him only. One who knows perfectly well that everything belongs to Krishna, that he is the proprietor of everything, and that, therefore, everything is engaged in the service of the Lord, naturally has nothing to do with the results of his activities, whether virtuous or sinful. Even one's material body, being a gift of the Lord for carrying out a particular type of action, can be engaged in Krishna consciousness. It is then beyond contamination by sinful reactions, exactly as the lotus leaf, though remaining in the water is not wet. The Lord says in the Gita 3.30, Mai sarvani karmani sannyasam. Resign all works unto me, Krishna. The conclusion is that a person without Krishna consciousness acts according to the concept of the material body and senses, but a person in Krishna consciousness acts according to the knowledge that the body is property of Krishna and should therefore be engaged in the service of Krishna. Hare Krishna.
So this is, I think, straightforward. So lotus leaf analogy is given. That's the main thing I wanted to show you. And Prabhupada is saying that so such a person who is always engaged in Krishna consciousness, he's beyond contamination. So it's not like sometimes ordinary people look at these great souls and they do not understand their mood, the very advanced platform that these people are on, these Vaishnavas, these sadhus are on. So they are beyond contamination by sinful reaction, means they're not breaking any rules. They're not able to break any rules. They're constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness. For example, I say Sheetal Mataji drives so perfectly that she cannot be caught by the cops, by the traffic police. Okay, so she is beyond the rule of traffic police. But what that means is that she will never break the rule because she knows the consequences. She's just too self-regulated. She's just so devoted to that proper driving, comfortable, smooth driving, that she's not going to drive rashly or break any rules or try to overtake anybody unnecessarily. Like, she's not going to break any red light, nothing. So that is what it means. It beyond contamination by sinful reactions is because they are operating in such a way, they're working in such a way, their efforts are always in Krishna consciousness. Okay, so when we say fall down is not possible, like somebody one time Prabhupada said in a class that I can never fall down. Okay, I can never fall down. So then later on they saw Prabhupada was praying in front of the DT, and the devotee asked Prabhupada, what do you pray for? You said you will never fall down. So what do you, we pray that we may never fall down. We pray and go in front of DT and we say we may never fall down. What do you pray for? So Prabhupada says, that's what I pray for. That's why I will never fall down, because I'm constantly praying to the Lord that I may never fall down. So since they're constantly absorbed in Krishna consciousness, that's why they will never fall down. So when we say they're beyond sinful reactions, it doesn't mean that they have license to do anything sinful or abominable. That's not what that means. It just means that they are under Krishna's shelter and protection. So they are not going to get out of that shelter. They are standing under the umbrella, so they're not going to get wet. Because they are standing under the umbrella of Krishna's shelter. So there is no possibility. They will not get wet. In that way, it is said. So similarly, lotus leaf, it has that waxy coating on it. That's why it does not get wet by the muddy water. It has that protection. So that's why we have to have this constant protection of Krishna consciousness, constant engagement in Krishna consciousness in our life. Start our morning with chanting and with recitation and with, like this Purushottam Mass is going on. So we take extra shelter of Purushottam Mass. Whatever things you can do, eating prasadam or singing or learning verses or associating with devotees or hearing Harikatha, whatever keeps you maximum connected with Krishna consciousness, grab that limb. There are so many limbs in Krishna consciousness that you can grab and stay engaged. But the best thing, Krishna says, Prabhupada says, devotee says over and over again, is to engage in service. Because by engaging in service, you purify your senses, mind, and intelligence. And you get a lot of mercy. So that's why we should have some kind of tangible service in which we all engage in to purify ourselves. Okay, I think we can stop. Let's take some questions, some realizations. If not, I can ask something to expand the discussion. So let's say, I hope that everybody here is chanting some number of Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day. It may be very personal to you, whatever number you are chanting. But let's say, what is your prayer when you are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Like Prabhupada was saying, I may never fall down. Devotees many times say that. I may never fall down. Would anyone like to share? Nagarjun Prabhu, would you like to share? What is your prayer? Unless it's too confidential.
Just repeat it one more time.
What do you pray for when you're chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Is there something that's going on that you are
So
constantly?
in general, while chanting,
So
try to
remember,
hear
there are
the
three praise,
Krishna
three
Mahamantra
P's.
itself.
I know that you were going to say that, but there is a prayerful mood. So there is a prayer. There is an underlying prayer.
So the underlying thought is just, I'm basically just typically just praying to give me more service and bhakti.
Yeah. Yes. Very nice. Okay. So yeah. So there are three P's of chanting. Okay. One is prayerful mood. That's why I was talking about prayer. Okay. We approach Krishna in a very prayerful mood. So that's why I was asking, what prayer do you have? One is your pronunciation
Posture. Sorry.
and
Go ahead.
posture. So your posture should be good, so you're alert and awake to the names, right? We are so awake and alert in this world, right? So that's why we should be awake and alert when we're doing our spiritual activities. We should be very awake and alert as well. So posture is important. And like I was remembering, I was hearing one of Amrendra Prabhu's class recently, and he said, when it's time to eat, we have all the utsah, nischay, and dhairyat. Utsahan, nischayat, dhairyat. So that time we have all the, because this is a verse from Shikshashtakam, Utsahan, nischayat, dhairyat, that we should have enthusiasm, determination, and patience. So we have all the enthusiasm when we have to eat, right? We are waiting very patiently in a restaurant to eat. And with very strong enthusiasm, we approach our plate and start devouring it. And with determination, we finish it. But we don't have that much enthusiasm, utsaha, nischay, and dhairyat when we are engaged in spiritual activities. We are very dull and inactive and impatient and not getting results. All these things come up. So we should have that, sit alert and awake, sit straight so that you can be alert to the holy names. Because Krishna and his names are non-different. So Krishna is present when names are going on. So you should be alert to his presence. And you said pronunciation should be very accurate so that we speak clearly and then hear clearly, like Nagarjuna Prabhu was saying, speak and then hear. But there is a prayerful mood. And actually, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. The very basic understanding of this mantra is, if you had to explain it to anyone during your preaching, is that we are saying, "O Krishna, O energy of Krishna, please engage me in your service." So just like Nagarjuna Prabhu said. So we should be asking for service. We should be asking for constant service. But we can have other prayers like to purify us. So that is a very important prayer also, to purify us so that we may get rid of these tastes for sense enjoyment that we have. Vishaya chadiya kabe shuddha ha bimana kabe ha maheri bo Shri Vrindavana. So Vishaya chadiya kabe shuddha bimana. When, oh my mind, when will it be free of these sense objects so that I can get darshan of the Shri Vrindavan in my mind? How can we get darshan of Shri Vrindavan in our heart, in our mind, if or real darshan of Shri Vrindavan Dham, unless we make an effort to purify ourselves. So those are some of the prayers I was thinking of. Okay, anybody else wants to share anything? Ask any questions, realizations? Ramchandra Prabhu and Puja Mataji often asks. I don't know, where is Puja Mataji's?
Hare Krishna. There was one question that I wanted to ask. I was thinking about as we were having the class. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so my question was about prasadam. You had mentioned that when we are eating, typically, all this like sense and sense objects, then how do I think about prasadam? Like when I'm excited to have prasadam. I have not made the prasadam necessarily, I'm going to a temple, but I'm excited of tasting and honoring the prasadam. So how should we take it? Is that fulfillment for the body or the soul?
Yeah, so the typical example given is that's why we say honoring the prasadam. So prasadam is also non-different from Krishna. Any Krishna's objects are non-different from Krishna, right? He's absolute, he's unlimited, he's absolute truth. So so you honor, okay? Just the difference is, example is given that of Hanumanji approaching Mother Sita versus Ravan approaching Mother Sita. Hanumanji is approaching Mother Sita in a very gentle, very prayerful mood, right? Just like I'm talking about Harinam approaching in a very prayerful mood. So Hanumanji is approaching Mother Sita in a very respectful, prayerful mood, that this is something I get to associate with. This is a great honor that has been given to me, awarded to me. So you approach very respectfully, very humbly, very gently, right? I know these are just, it's very difficult to apply it practically, but Ravan on the other hand wants to enjoy Mother Sita, right? He wants to exploit her. So that is sense gratification, that is calm. Okay, again, the difference between calm and prem, lust and love. So when you respectfully approach Krishna, that's you're serving your tongue, you are honoring that prasadam, right? You are consuming Krishna prasad. So we honor it in a very respectful mood, say a prayer, gentle prayer, and then properly relish it in association of devotees. Typically, that's why it is said that there should be some kirtan or class going on that keeps you again grounded. So it's not just sense gratification. Don't eat more than your fill. Typically, it's recommended even by Ayurveda to eat about 80% of your stomach capacity. So eat limited amount in a very respectful mood in association of devotees with after having said a prayer. I think like it's a little hard for me to relate with that because I know what you are saying. I'm able to do that. So there are certain other aspects of Krishna consciousness that are difficult for me. This aspect I'm able to accomplish. Like I feel that I'm able to approach in a very quiet, respectful mood and just focusing on the prasadam and no prajalpa, typically no nonsense conversation and gossiping and things like that going on typically. That's how I would approach, in limited amount and remembering Krishna that this is his mercy. Prasad means mercy. We are getting his mercy through our tongue in that way. I think Puja Mataji, I hope that answers. Yeah.
Hare
Puja
Krishna
Mataji
Mata.
answered. Yeah.
I have a question. Hare Krishna. I have a question that always you mention that it is to please the senses of the Krishna or to satisfy the senses of Krishna than your own sense gratification. So my question is that how do we know that what pleases or satisfies Krishna? Is it only through the 9 limbs of devotional service or the bhakti bhav, Shravanam, Dasyam, or Simran, whatever you have mentioned? Is it only through these, or is it one's own understanding, or it's very subjective that, because so how do we ascertain that what is it that pleases Krishna, or is it the right thing to do to please or gratify the senses of Krishna?
Yes. Yes, Mataji. So this is very common. Like I still struggle with this a lot. Because I'm always wondering if this service is pleasing to Krishna, if this activity is pleasing to Krishna, will he be satisfied? I always try to think in that way. Will he be satisfied? Will he be happy? And it's very hard to know because, we are very impure, so we do not have much interaction with Krishna. We do not get much realization. So there is still a barometer, okay? There is a scale by which you can measure your satisfaction of Krishna, okay? This is the answer I have received. I have asked this question in multiple classes to understand if my activities, my services are pleasing to Krishna or not. The answer that I get is that if you try your best, you're doing different activities, you're trying to maximize Krishna's engagement with Krishna in your life, on your level, okay? Whatever you can do, you're trying your best, whether you're trying to hear more kirtan, deliberately trying to add more and more Krishna conscious activities in your life. Serving devotees, you have taken up some services, you're reading more, hearing more, right? Chanting more. The two things will happen. Many things will happen, actually. Many things will happen. I'll tell you the most common things that happen. One is your taste will increase in Krishna conscious activities. That's how you will know that Krishna is getting pleased and satisfied. Your taste will increase, okay? So you will, before you had to drag yourself to kirtan or to temple or to chant. Now you will be more spontaneously, more easily able to do things, okay? So your taste is increasing. That's number one, okay? So that means Krishna is giving intelligence from within. So we are on the right path. So taste will increase, okay? More spontaneously, you will play Krishna Katha and you will not feel bored and things. You will feel less bored. You will feel more involved and absorbed, okay? Taste. One measure is taste. Second measure is you will see that you will start becoming more self-regulated, self-control, control of senses will start coming also. You will be able to say no to things more easily. Okay, material things, material attractions will not tempt you anymore. They will not allure you that much anymore. So the taste for those things will start declining. So taste for spiritual activities is increasing spontaneously. For material things is declining. Okay. Anarthas will start going away. Anarthas means weaknesses of our heart. For example, calm, krodh, lobh. So like greed, anger, pride, illusions, all these things, attachments, they will start going down quite a bit, okay? So things will not affect you as much. You'll be like, okay, you become very stoic, very solid, and things will just roll over you, just like water from the lotus leaf, right? They'll just kind of roll over you. Most important, and this is the very advanced, and this will happen, I think it is already happening with you, will happen with many, many people. If you very carefully watch your life, Krishna will start participating in your life more actively. You will see his plans happening in your life in a very tangible way. You will start seeing Krishna's presence on a daily basis in your life. So you will know that I'm on the right path, that I need to keep doing what I'm doing and maybe do more, like that. Yeah. So that means you're pleasing. As soon as something bad happens where you have displeased, let's say, typically bad things will be offenses to devotees, or typically Vaishnava Aparadha is the biggest thing that causes the downward trend. So you will know that some aparadha has happened because I'm losing my taste, my anarthas are come up, material attachments are increasing, engagements are more, and I'm not seeing Krishna's presence in your life. So you will see that some aparadha or something has happened, like that.
Yeah. Very, very nicely explained, Mataji. I got my answer.
Hare Krishna. Okay, maybe we have time for one more and then we'll stop. Ramchandra Prabhu, were you asking something before, or?
No, Mataji, I'm good for today.
Okay. So anything else? Suhas Mataji, Sheetal Mataji, Manish Prabhu, and Sakshi Mataji, Ramesh Prabhu. Okay, if not, we can stop. Thank you everyone for joining. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Guru and Gauranga. Vancha kaltarubhishcha kripa sindhave vacha patitana pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Gurve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.